imperfect. There are many things going on around this world that by any definition are considered to be inhumane. And we, the people who talk a great game about morals and humanity, we don't do much to stop it. Most of us are either insensitized to the news or are the ones who change the news channel when it gets too depressing. I cannot count the amount of times that my mother has found me sitting on the couch just on the edge of crying because I've been watching the news all day. And every time she would tell me, "What is wrong with you, kid? Just stop it." And sometimes I would listen to her. So believe me, I'm not here to say that anyone who changes the news channel is evil and capable of killing cats or something. I'm just trying to say, at some point in life, things went so bad that we stopped asking, how can I help? And that's fair. There's not much that an ordinary person can do when it comes to terrorist attacks or governments going into war. But there are many small issues that people have to deal with in their day-to-day lives, and those are the ones that we can have an effect on. Those are the ones we can change. Let me elaborate with a story. This is a photo of me on my first day of school. Cute, right? Puberty hit me hard. On that day, as you can see, I seem happy to start school, which clearly shows I was young and naive. On that day, I went to school excited to learn about the world. And I did, just not the things that I had expected to. First thing I remember is a teacher asking us to stand in lines. And after giving us a painfully long lecture, she told us that we are the leaders of tomorrow. We are the hope of our country. That we should be independent thinkers and try to have a better, more peaceful society. Right after that, she asked us to step on a US flag that they had purposefully painted on the floor on our way to the class, no questions asked. On that day, I was only 6. I didn't really understand what manipulation was or really what was going on. I just thought to myself, I have no reason to hate a nation and I have no right to step on their flag. So I didn't, but my peers did. I'm not telling you this to show you how thoughtful I was as a 6-year-old. I'm just trying to show you how easy it is for an educational system to misuse their power and take away the kids' ability to think for themselves, implement certain ideologies in their minds. Now, you can argue that there's not much that we can do to change a whole educational system, and you would be right. However, there are many things that we can do to actually have an effect on it. As parents, we could stop telling our kids, do this because I said so. And as teachers, we can encourage them to question. Now, this might be the IB student in me talking, but I think that we should argue and discuss certain issues, trying to train ourselves, but more importantly, the younger generation, to be independent thinkers. And to not let anyone tell them, step on a flag because I said so. Now, this is a photo of me and my brother. I am clearly the superior sibling, I know. Although me and my brother lived in the same house, in the same country, and with the same parents, we had very different lives. When we were younger, whenever we would go out, I would be complimented on the dress I was wearing. I would be told that I'm very pretty. My brother, on the other hand, would be told that he's a strong boy, that he shouldn't let his sister go out like that, and he should protect me from all the men that are just out there waiting to steal me. When we got a little bit older and we went to school, I had to learn about sewing, knitting, and cooking, when my brother got to do robotics and build cool stuff in a wood shop. When I got a little bit older and we went to middle school, I remember a teacher of mine telling my class that girls are like tissues. Once they get used, no one will ever want them again. And that is how we got told not to date before marriage. I do not think that my brother was ever compared to a tissue. When we got a little bit older and we went to high school, I was lucky enough to be in the Mathematical Olympiad department. So I had a class full of talented 16-year-old girls. One day, a friend of mine asked our teacher about job opportunities and how much internship opportunities might pay after we start college. My teacher had the audacity to tell that class of talented girls that this is a stupid question. You shouldn't ask that. You're girls. Now you're under the protection of your father, so he has to pay for all of your expenses. And since you are all pretty girls, you will eventually find a wealthy husband to provide for you. You shouldn't worry about this. You shouldn't ask. We never got an answer. I do not think my brother was ever encouraged to not work and find a wealthy husband instead. Now, imagine if we stopped doing that. Imagine if we stopped telling our kids, our girls, that they are pretty princesses, and our boys that there are brave knights. Imagine if we stopped making cartoons with the same old plot. Pretty princess in need of help of a young man, preferably a prince. Little by little, a generation will be born that doesn't make fun of a guy for having a Barbie doll or doesn't accept a girl to be compared to a tissue as a part of a school curriculum. But if we don't do this, if we let these stereotypes live, their existence wouldn't really be our first worry. Where I come from, many people actually believe these. They believe that girls are only good for cooking and cleaning, and they will always need a man to provide for them. The consequence of these thoughts is that they force their kids to marry much older men. And so by thinking, okay, this kid is about 9 years old, she knows how to cook and clean, which is essentially all she's good for, why not give her to this man who will protect her and also benefit the family financially? So the result of this is that they send their baby girls to get raped on a daily basis. Now I have a question for the audience. How many of the male members of this audience have experienced some sort of catcalling or sexual comments while walking down the street? Show of hands. Now, how many of the female members of the audience have experienced it? Personally, I cannot walk down the streets of my city in peace unless I have a man with me. Me and my friends have been followed by men, old and young, and we've been told, "Do you want to ride?" or, "Wow, you look fine." Some people think that this is funny, or that it is a compliment. I assure you, 90% of those people have never experienced it. It is not funny to have someone follow you on the street. And it is not a compliment for a random man on the street to tell you you have a nice body. It is simply scary and disturbing. Now imagine if we started talking about this, if we started talking about the negative effects of catcalling, and imagine if we tell our kids from a young age that this is not okay, it's not funny. Maybe one day women would have the right to actually walk down the street in peace. Now this is a photo of me and my friends. This is another one. And another one. And another one. So as you can see, I have friends. I don't know why, but no one ever believes me. As someone who has friends, I can tell you that I know sometimes when you're having conversations with your friends or at the lunch table, inappropriate comments are made, but we let them slide. We hear a guy be made fun of for wearing nail polish, but we don't say anything. We say, it's just a joke. I shouldn't make it awkward. Or we hear a teacher make a sexist comment, and we say, why talk about it? Nothing's gonna change anyway, so why get in trouble? We hear someone making homophobic comment, and we let it pass by saying, it's just part of the culture. We can't do anything about it. Or we hear a colleague getting bullied, and we don't say anything. We think, it's not my place to talk. Now what if we stopped that? What if we started standing up for the fundamentals that we believe in? I think that this would not only benefit the people around us, but will also start denormalizing such behavior and make the world a better place. Now, I'm not telling you all of these because I like complaining. I do, but not to an extent to have a talk about it. I'm just telling you this to show you that even me, as a kid who was born in a middle-class family with very well-educated parents, had to go through all of these outdated ideologies. Now imagine what a kid who lives in a secluded area with very conservative parents has to go through. And I know this is sad and it makes you want to sit under a table and just cry while eating ice cream, but I'm afraid we have to do a little bit more than that. I think that we should start thinking, what can I do? And do our part in the fight. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean for you to go on a hunger strike because you believe your chihuahua should be allowed into a shopping mall. Unless that's what you really want to do. In that case, I don't judge. Karen, what? I'm just saying that you should try to do whatever you can and do your part. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be something that makes you a political prisoner. It can be something as simple as not tolerating that one homophobic comment or not letting that sexist comment slide. We should try to do whatever we can, no matter how small. Because believe me, sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest effect. However, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you a little bit about my story and ask you to kindly think about it next time you see injustice happening in your community or you see something on the news that makes you lose hope in humanity. And think for yourself, what can I do about it? Thank you so much for listening to me.